Hello. We shall now continue our discussions on the subject of marriages under Nigerian law. And again, we shall use the case of Wàhàla Edochie for illustration purposes. You must understand that Wàhàla Edochie's case provides us a perfect illustration of so many issues that come up in discussing marriage, the topic of marriage in Nigeria. Nigeria is one of the most difficult countries when it comes to understanding the laws that regulate marriages. And when I make these broadcasts and give these lectures, many people wrongly think that I am addressing Wàhàla Edochie. No, some even think wrongly that I am hoping that Wàhàla Edochie will engage me or that his wives will engage me. Nothing like that. The people I'm addressing are thousands of people who follow me, thousands of members of DPA, hundreds of thousands of members of DPA who want to learn, who want to know more about marriages in Nigeria. In fact, Wàhàla Edochie's case has provided a perfect example. This is the case involving power. A very powerful man felt he could get away with his actions because of his fame, because of his star power, because of the large following he has. Also, his case touches on the conflict, the tensions between the cultural practices, customs of the Igbos particularly, and the written laws of Nigeria. That is specifically the Marriage Act and the Matrimonial Causes Act. Two important laws that you will get to know about once you begin to delve into marriage issues in Nigeria. Let me clarify. Nigerian law allows people to choose polygamous lives, polygamous marriages. There are two ways to do so. Either you marry under the Islamic laws, which allows you to have more than one wife, or you marry strictly under the customary laws of, say, the Igbos, which allows you to have multiple wives. However, our legal system has marriages under the Act. That is, there's a third option. You can choose to marry under the Act, and marrying under the Act brings your marriage in accordance or consistently with English laws we inherited, which is based on Christian rights, marital traditions, and approach to the philosophy of marriage. If you choose to marry under the Act, either because you went to registry, marriage registry, or because you married in a church that is licensed to celebrate marriages under the Act, if you choose that, then you have chosen monogamy. You have chosen not to have polygamy. Once you have made that choice, it's not easy to wake up one morning and say, okay, I'm now polygamous. That was the mistake of Wàhàla Edochie. You chose the English law tradition of monogamy by marrying under the Act. Once he married under the Act, there are consequences. When you marry under the Act, You can't have a second wife, and you can't commit adultery without consequences. Many people thought that, okay, you can marry one wife under the act, and then go ahead and marry another wife under the customs. They thought that as long as the two wives are not married under the act, you're okay. That is nonsense. That is fallacy. Once you're married under the act, you can't have a second wife. And let me also tell you this. If you had a wife before under the custom, you will not be allowed to marry under the act. That is, let's say your first wife was married traditionally, customarily, and you meet a second wife, and you decide to go and marry the second wife under the act. The law does not allow that at all. That is why you are required to establish that you're a bachelor or a spinster before you are allowed to marry under the act. Because marriage under the act precludes polygamy. So the problem with you, or you's example, was that you was married under the act and suddenly wanted to switch and marry the second wife under the customs. Wrong. Wrong. And we emphasize this a lot. By the way, when I make these presentations, I'm trying to teach thousands of our members who want to know more about marriages. I'm not addressing you. I'm not addressing me. I'm not addressing Judy Austin. I believe they have lawyers. I believe they have other options. They are really not the target of these broadcasts. Now, I'm only using them as example because their case presents us a perfect example. Now, what can you do? Let's say you love Judy Austin so much, and let's say you is being forced to choose only one wife. How can you marry Judy? What does you have to do in order for him to marry Judy legitimately? Yul has to divorce May, or May has to divorce you. It's only when the marriage between Yul and May has been dissolved that Yul can validly marry Austin. So assuming they pursue that option, what will happen? I've explained to you that if May wants to divorce Yul, she can easily divorce him on the ground of adultery. It will be very easy, because adultery, though only one of the grounds for divorce, is one of the most powerful grounds. Because once you can establish adultery, you do not need to wait for a period of separation in order to divorce. Once you can establish adultery, you'll get divorced straight. So, May can establish adultery against Yul. So if she sues Yul for divorce, she'll get divorced fast. On the other hand, what if Yul sues May? Yul will not get divorced fast. Why? Because Yul will not be able to establish adultery against May. So Yul will be required to go through a period of separation, and without the consent of May, that period of separation could be 3 years. So in other words, Yul will not be able to file for divorce until 3 years from now. That's why I said it could take 4 years for him to get a divorce. But May can get divorced. However, May will not do this. May will not want divorce, because if she applies for divorce, she'll be doing a favor to Judy. That will make it easy for you to marry Judy. So I expect May will not go for divorce. That's the point that we've made. Thank you.